How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 5. I don't remember everything that happened in the last episode because it was a longer than usual episode, and it was done in multiple sessions, and I did this like 2 weeks ago. Again, multiple sessions. It was during my little bit of a break from YouTube, but I still wanted to keep up on Higurashi. I hopefully won't get burned out, but I just want to keep going. Like, I just cannot stop. But I did stop for a couple weeks, which was probably a good thing, because it would suck to be burned out. So before we actually jump back in, I don't really have much of a recap, other than, yes, we're following Shion. She ran into Satoshi, is having to pretend to be Mion when she's out and about, because she escaped a very strict school. And there's a lot more. I cannot recap a 2-hour-long episode, even if I tried. I can barely recap a normal length episode, but that's besides the point. Before we do jump in though, I do want to say thank you to everybody that watched the first episode of Chapter 5. I'm happy to be back recording for stuff on YouTube. It's been weird for a whole month without recording stuff, or thinking like, man, just got home from work, time to hop on that Higurashi or whatever else. It's definitely a weird feeling. So it's definitely good to be back, for sure. So let's definitely jump back into the swing of things. Thank you again. Let us continue on.
その特徴的な雰囲気と気安く頭を撫でる癖は間違いないね。
サトシ君って言うんだ。
The boy from earlier is called Satoshi Hojo-kun. Mion said that he's always daydreaming, so she didn't believe that he saved me at first.
普段はしっかり者の妹にいろいろと尻を叩かれてるな。
妹がいるんだ。
妹はサトコって言ってね。なかなか面白いやつだよ。なかなか悪知恵が働くしね。そのくせ追い詰められると泣くし。見てて退屈しない子だね。まあ、最近はいろいろとあってね。
Yeah.
ちょっと調子を落としてるけど。
His sister came up naturally in the conversation. I tried to soak up every scrap of information about Satoshi-kun. Why? Why am I trying to ask so much about him? As I asked myself that, the feeling I got when he stroked my head came back to me. I must have been blushing.
もしもし、シオン？
ごめん、聞いてる。
そもそもね、サトコがおばと折り合いが悪いらしいんだよね。サトシは大人だから、その辺はうまく立ち回ってるんだけどさ、サトコは嫌なことがあると素直に表情に出しちゃうからね。
What Sis told me was very interesting. She told me that the parents of Satoshi-kun and his little sister are dead. Satoshi-kun and Soroko are now living with their uncle. Wait, hold up. What? Hold up. Wait, stop. She told me that the parents of Satoshi-kun and his little sister are That's a really weirdly phrased sentence, I'm sorry to say. But yeah, living with her uncle and aunt, they don't seem very respectable people. They're definitely not. They're always fighting, and the uncle is cheating on the aunt. He mostly lives with his mistress. Satoshi-kun and Soroko entered into that unwelcome environment. What surprises me the most is the fact that Satoshi-kun's parents were the Hojo couple who were the leaders of the pro-dam activists. That fact must have added something to the situation. I don't know what kind of stance the uncle and aunt took during the dam conflict, but they must have taken some indirect blows. Satoshi-kun's parents died after bothering them so much, and even left them their children. Wait, Satoshi-kun's parents died after bothering them? It's a weird... I don't know why these sentences are confusing me. The uncle and aunt obviously can't love those kids. Things have gotten worse this past year. Women can be really nasty bullies, yeah. Sometimes it's... Well, okay, don't take that too seriously. Sometimes it doesn't matter who they're bullying, even if it's a kid. On top of that, women tend to care less about propriety than men? Propriety? Let's go with that. It's not property. Ugh. As a result, Sadako seems exhausted with it all. My excuse here for my lack of being able to speak is that I haven't done this consistently in a while. Does that fly? I can imagine Satoshi-kun bravely protecting his little sister, just like when he saved me.
なら、サトシ君も普段は疲れてるってことになるのかな。
え？
サトコがおばにいじめられるたびに、きっとサトシ君は妹をかばってると思う。妹が疲れるのと同じくらい、サトシ君も疲れてると思うのは、私の考えすぎ？
どうだろうね。
Had I said something wrong? Mion sounded a bit taken aback. So that meant Mion can't tell how he's feeling, because he's always wearing that blank look, so she never considered it. How can she be that insensitive even though she's around him all the time? I was amazed to realize that.
まあそんな話はいいや。で、彼は普段はどんなことをしてるの？文系みたいだから読書とか好きなわけ？
想像に漏れずに普段は読書して過ごしてるよ。最近読んでる本はね、なんて言ったかな。
The Bible? I don't know. I continued asking about him, about what he likes, dislikes, and what he thinks about it. I asked Sis all these questions because I wanted to know more about him. It was the first time I'd ever been that interested in somebody. I didn't want to admit that I had feelings like that. Did I fall in love just because of a stroke on the head? Am I stupid or what? When I remember the feeling of his hand on my head, my heart feels tingly. I tried doing it myself, but it didn't feel the same. I'm stupid. What am I doing stroking my own head?
おねえ、私もうダメだ。バカになっちゃった。
え？何を突然、気色悪い声で笑い出して。
おねえにはわかるまい、この。
When would I see him again? I felt as if my suffocating life had finally grown brighter. Well, you definitely won't see him again if we come up on the Watanagashi, because that'll definitely take care of him. It didn't happen immediately. I'm pretty sure it happened like a few days after, I think is what we were told, that he disappeared. The life I lived really was beginning to suffocate me. I couldn't go out freely, and I always had to make arrangements with Mion before going to work. I thought my life would improve after escaping from the school, but in reality, it wasn't that easy. It's not healthy to live like this for too long. Without any friends to hang out with, I felt like I was hibernating. I'd started to feel the dangers of falling into boredom. All I could think of now was Satoshi Hojo-kun's face. I'd only met him briefly, but my encounter with him had a great impact on my new life. I felt like something exciting was going to happen. Really, I was hyped up like a little kid. The more I thought about it, I realized I'd been thinking about him a lot lately. This might be a crush. I felt a little ridiculous idolizing him in such a romantic way, though. And then out of the blue, I got a chance to see him again.
あれ？
I saw a familiar face at twilight in the park. He was sitting on the swing. He looked like he was zoning out or maybe deep in thought. He didn't notice me, even though I was right in front of him. I reminded myself to speak and act like Mion before talking to him.
Hey! 何やってんの？こんなとこでさ。
I don't know if a big fat hey is what Mion would say, but what do I know?
ミオンか。びっくりしたな。
そんなに驚いてるようには見えないけどね。さっきからいたんだけど、ずっと気づかなかった？
そうなのかい？ごめん、気づかなかったよ。
He smiled derisively? Yeah, let's go with that. And shrugged. He looked depressed, like something was troubling him.
何か悩み事でも？聞いて楽になるものなら聞くし、力になれるものなら惜しまないけど。
Switching back and forth between the voices really does show a little bit more of the voice actress that does the work for Mion/Shion. It's really incredible work. She's got a great voice.
いや別に。
私はサトシ君には一個借りがあるからね。それとも何？おじさんじゃ力になれないと思ってるわけ？見くびられたもんだな。
別に。ミオンの力を借りたら意味がないことだからさ。
ほう、それは何？ 私ごとき女の手は借りたくないってこと？
Thinking him unfair, I puffed up my cheeks in a sulky gesture. Satoshi-kun noticed that and smiled.
違うんだよミオ。僕に実力がなくてここ一番で打てなかったってだけのことなんだよ。
I mentally rifled through all the information about Satoshi-kun that Sis had given me. He doesn't look like much of an athlete, but apparently Satoshi-kun belongs to a junior baseball team. They're called the Hinamizawa Fighters. Oh yeah. I doubt he's very skilled since I didn't hear much about his contributions to the team. Maybe that's why he doesn't tell many people that he's a member. Given how down he felt as a result of messing up though, he must be fairly dedicated. I deduced all that from what Sis told me, and carefully chose my words so as to sound like her.
なんだ、そんなことで落ち込んでるわけ？
そんなことでって簡単に言ってくれるな、ミオンは。
I pat his back while chuckling. Satoshi-kun would probably call me insensitive. I knew I should listen to him rather than trying to cheer him up. Acting like Sis was probably the wrong thing to do in this case, but I had no choice. This was just how she'd react in this situation.
それなら落ち込むんじゃなくて、なお一層練習に打ち込んで次のチャンスを目指すのが適当ってもんでしょうが。こういう時は練習しかないよ、練習。まあ、サトシ君に相手のピッチャーに小細工をしてまで勝ちたいという執念があるなら、おじさんいろいろと協力できるかもしれませんけどね。
ずるしても何の意味もないよ。はあ。
Satoshi-kun hung his head after letting his regrets out with a big sigh. Surrender, defeat, resignation were all visible in that gesture of his.
諦めがいいのか未練たらたらなのか。やっぱり男に生まれたからには一度くらいは晴れ舞台でスターになってみたいでしょう。
Satoshi-kun, grinned and said yes.
もちろんヒーローを目指すのが花だけど、それが目的で野球をやってるわけじゃないよ。純粋にボールを投げたり打ったりするのが楽しいからやってるんだよ。ミオンでもそういうのわかるよね。
He's letting out the steam, if you will.
おじさんはそういうのはあんまわかんないかな。私は結果が一番であるならどんな種目でも大好きだし、一番になれないのに大好きなんてものはあんまりよくわかんないね。
ミオンらしい答えだな。
Having realized that I'm trying to make him feel better, he laughed along. He didn't look depressed anymore. I guess he was just feeling down because of the game. He wasn't as depressed as I thought. And maybe I just jumped to conclusions when I saw him sitting alone in the park.
でもミオンは一番になるためにいろいろと努力をするからね。それは偉いと思うよ。
He smiled gently and stood up. Then he started stroking my head. Oh, here we go. All of a sudden. I totally wasn't prepared for that. I thought this when he did this last time, but how can he stroke somebody's head so easily? I felt like I had turned into a little kid. Memories from kindergarten came back to mind. My face must have been red. I felt embarrassed, but also like I was in heaven. Satoshi-kun stroked me as though petting a cat. I was blushing with my eyes closed. I felt helpless, like a girl being treated by the dentist with her mouth open and her eyes shut. Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. Satoshi-kun didn't seem to notice my feelings at all. He didn't seem to care. I hate him. With my eyes still closed, I waited for him to finish. He suddenly withdrew his hand.
じゃあ、僕はそろそろ帰るよ。
God damn, did it fucking like get sunset the entire time he was doing that?
おばさんに野球の帰りに買い物をしてくるよう頼まれてるから。
Oh boy. My voice faltered. I was so embarrassed.
買い物なら夕飯の買い物。
あれ、ミオも買い物するんだ。 お手伝いさんが全部やってくれるって言ってなかったっけ？
Shoot. I messed up. In the main Sonozaki house, the maids do everything. Therefore, Mion hardly goes grocery shopping, and she's bragged to some people about that. I should have known better. Still, it wouldn't be too hard to find an excuse.
町に遊びに来るつもりでいたから、買い物を私が引き受けてきたわけよ。
How noble of
お
Mion.
分かり？
Am I right, boys?
ミオンにしては珍しいね。普段はそういうのめんどくさいって言って嫌がりそうなのに。
そういうのを余計なお世話って言います。頭撫でないで。
Satoshi-kun seemed to be having fun with how embarrassed I'd get when he patted me. Anyway, I managed to talk my way out of it. He didn't seem to really care about the details. While walking with Satoshi-kun in the shopping district of Kami-Ishiki, it suddenly occurred to me. Why had I messed up? I'd known Mion would never go grocery shopping. What an amateurish mistake. Did I make that mistake when I was pretending to be Mion? No. I was probably speaking as Shion. I couldn't keep lying to myself. I just had to admit it. It was simply because I wanted to spend as much time with Satoshi-kun as possible. It was easy to see why I was so attracted to him. I'd found something intriguing in my boring life, and I didn't have to feel tense because he thought I was somebody else. Etc., etc. His easygoing nature made him fun to be around, and his habit of petting people on the head was fun too. From these symptoms, I could tell I was embracing the feeling of love. I was just casually enjoying that feeling. It wasn't that I fell in love with him. I was just having fun. I could simply spend some fun time with Satoshi-kun without having to think too much. Damn, so probably him disappearing, very shortly. It's coming up. Whenever the Watanagashi festival happens, we can basically kiss our fucking goodbyes over to Satoshi, because he'll be fading into the goddamn sunset with a demon or god or whatever. But yeah, I can definitely see how my prediction in chapter 3 kind of plays out here, that she had some sort of attraction to Satoshi, and whether you want to call that being in love with him or just whatever she was describing here, she did find some enjoyment or something out of him. An attraction of some sort, if not a romantic one.
緑だっけ？黄色だっけ？
サトシ君、そっちはカリフラワー。サトシ君ってひょっとしてキャベツとレタスの区別がつかないタイプ？
Oh hey, he's just like Keiichi.
それはひどいよ。これでも精一杯区別してるつもり。
Satoshi. Oh god damn. Fuck. Okay, I was gonna get a drink and I lifted up my cup and I guess it was stuck to my coaster. That scared the shit out of me. Satoshi-kun stared at the heaps of broccoli and cauliflower. After thinking for a while, he reached out for the wrong one.
それ違う。サトシ君の買い物は見ててハラハラしますね。見てるこっちは楽しいけどさ。
参ったな。サトコと一緒の時にも迷うんだよ。ブロッコリーとカリフラワーはどっちが何色だっけってね。
あんたら兄弟二人揃って面白すぎです。
No, that's right, she couldn't. Even one fucking year later, she couldn't. Sis had told me that Satoshi was a flaky big brother to his nagging little sister. I hadn't met Sadako, but she must have been having a tough time dealing with Satoshi-kun. He stumbles over everything he buys, after all.
それは調理塩。胡椒とか混じってますから、卓上塩とは異なります。
Okay, well, I didn't know that.
そうなの？
Okay, so, gotta remember, if I ever do this shit, I need to get regular salt. I am not a fan of pepper.
確か理科の実験で塩と胡椒を分離するのを確か。
言い訳はいいから棚に戻す。こっちが普通のお塩ね。で、次は？
ミオンがいてくれると買い物が楽で助かるよ。
サトシ君、頭良さそうに見えて社会生活に支障ありすぎです。もう少しお勉強した方がいいと思います。
それはひどいな。あった。これかな。ひょいひょい。
Jesus.
だからそれは違う。何でもカゴに放り込む前に値段と何人分かをよく確認する。
Oh, I would do the same exact thing as Satoshi, to be honest. My first impression of Satoshi-kun was that he was strong and reliable. But the more I spoke to him, the more surprised I was at how clumsy and unreliable he actually was. How do I put it? It was hard to leave him alone. He was dangerous on his own. If he wasn't careful, he might start wondering, do you cross the street when the light is red? Wait, aren't you supposed to? I'm kidding, by the way, come on. And get himself run over by a dump truck. This is how he enters an isekai adventure, bro.
カードはお持ちですか？はい、あります。あれ、どこかな？
すみません。ちょっと見当たらないんで、今度でいいです。
I finished checking out, ignoring Satoshi-kun as he fished through his wallet full of receipts. Bro, you gotta empty those out.
ひどいな、ミオン。スタンプちゃんと押さないともったいないよ。
あんた、夕暮れ時のお買い物ラッシュの時にのんびりと財布を漁ってスタンプカードなんか探さない。
Yeah, you gotta have that shit
後ろ
ready.
に大勢待ってるんだから。私たちの後ろで海線山線のおばさま方が早くしなさいざますって目でギロギロ睨んでたの気づいてなかったんですか？あのね、そういう時はレジ前に並んでる時からあらかじめ用意しておくの。
あ、そうか。いいことを聞いたよ。
Okay, I have a story to tell. If you don't want to hear it, just skip forward like a minute. But when I was living on my own for a year for university, I would usually go to the store, and I'd usually go with my roommates at the time. But this time I decided to go by myself because I wanted a few things. And it really wasn't much. It was like, I don't even know what it was. I think it was like bread, maybe some drinks. That was probably it. Like, it really wasn't much. But I had totally forgotten when I was checking out, oh, yeah, this store doesn't take credit card. You have to use a debit card or cash. Or maybe a check, I don't fucking know. But I know the big thing was like, you have to use a goddamn debit card. And I was like, all right, I barely use this thing. And I was told that it was expired, but it wasn't. Like, I looked at the card afterwards, and it wasn't. So I had to pay with cash, but I had like $1 short. So I had to send something back. But here I am at the front of the line during a rush at this store, and I'm just making a fucking fool out of myself. I was so embarrassed. So definitely heed advice of Shion pretending to be Mion here. Be prepared before you get in that line. Or get prepared as you're in the line.
ちなみにここでのことだけじゃないですからね。バスに乗る時もそう。サトシ君、バスを降りようとして料金を入れる時、その時になって初めてお財布を開けて小銭をちまちまと探して後ろの人を詰まらせて待たせてるでしょ。
Okay, I would at least get my bus pass out for whenever I got on the fucking bus for university. I wasn't that foolish.
みんな僕を追い抜いて勝手に料金を入れてるかな。
Like, come on.
はあ、それはね、すっごーく周りに迷惑をかけているのです。そういうのはあらかじめ用意しておくのがマナー。わかりました？
わかったよ。今日のミオンは怖いな。
Satoshi-kun smiled as if patronizing me. Ha, I couldn't believe it. He was definitely the type who made women want to protect him. Sure, he was fine as he was when he had a busybody like me around him. But I couldn't stop worrying whether he was able to function in society without someone like that nearby. We got plastic bags and sorted out what we bought. Satoshi-kun put a pack of tofu at the bottom of the bag, and I slapped his hand and put in a milk carton instead.
はい、これで OK。これで台所で買い物袋を広げてお母さんに仰天されなくて済みますからね。
ありがとう。助かったよ。僕はどうも買い物が苦手でさ。
Oh wow, what makes you think that,
買い
buddy?
物だけ？正直におっしゃい。 嘘冗談。
I had realized a few things while I was spending time with him today. He's not just bad at shopping, he's also chronically clumsy. In general, you can call him a slow thinker. Yeah, I can relate. And that meant when he stepped into the quarrel with the punks, he must have needed a lot of courage. He might be a simpleton, but he's not stupid. He's aware of his weaknesses, so he must have been aware of the danger in that situation. He could have just chosen to walk away even though I was in trouble, but he chose to be a man and he stepped in. That was really admirable of him.
えらいえらい。サトシ君は頑張ったよ。いい子いい子。
なんだよ。急に人の頭を撫でないでくれよ。
サトシ君が一人でお買い物ができましたでしょう。なでなでなで。
ミオン、僕のことすっごいバカにしてるだろ。
してないよ。お家一人で帰れるかな？道わかる？
やっぱりバカにしてる。
Satoshi-kun's sulky face flushed red. He's just too cute. At that point, I caught a glimpse of a billboard from the corner of my eye. Piano lessons called whatever. Abacus class. Junior baseball team members wanted. It was a posting for the team Satoshi-kun belonged to. It showed the day, time, and place of their next practice. By then, I knew just how flaky he was. I figured he must be just the same when playing baseball, excuse me. Satoshi-kun realized that I was reading the posting. He looked uncomfortable and walked away.
今、サトシ君は思った。頼むからミオン。野球やってるとこまで来ないでくれよ。図星？そのムーってのはつまり何さ？図星ってことでしょ。
Satoshi-kun became quiet after mumbling something. It seemed like he couldn't say anything back since I had been right on the money. Satoshi-kun, you're just too cute. I don't think going silent is a good way to dodge the issue. Well, that might have just been the way innocent people like him would react in a situation like that.
じゃあね、サトシ君。暗くなりかけてるから気をつけて帰ってね。
ミオンは一緒に帰らないのかい？ひなみざわ。
私はもうちょっと寄るとこありますんで、気にしないで先に帰ってください。
僕の買い物を手伝ってもらったんだから。
No, this isn't good. He's gonna attach to us
今
here.
度は僕が手伝う。
大丈夫。っていうか、サトシ君が何を手伝うおつもりで？人の手伝いする前に自分が手伝われなくて買い物できるようになっといてくださいな。
今日のミオンはひときわ意地悪かな。
I wonder, does Mion actually act a lot kinder to Satoshi, and we just don't know it? He seemed to have some pride at least. He looked a bit upset because he was teased by a girl. But in contrast, I felt very satisfied. As a result, I forgot to keep my guard up.
でも手伝ってくれてありがとうね。本当に助かったから。
Uh-oh. While wearing a bright smile, Satoshi-kun suddenly started stroking my head again. I know he's teasing me, but I can't reject him. He keeps doing it only because he's realized I won't resist.
じゃあね、ミオン。暗くならないうちに用事を済ませてね。また明日、学校で。
また明日、学校でね。
In fact, I wouldn't see him tomorrow at all. It felt awkward, but I had to settle for that. I had to thank Sis for letting me use her name. After I separated from him, I found myself giddy and wishing to see him again as soon as possible. I wanted to know more about him. I couldn't wait for my next chance to see him. Actually, maybe there was something I could do. Just like when I obtained my freedom from St. Lucia's. I could choose how to live my life. Whatever, it wasn't that complicated. I just wanted to tease him more. I wanted him to stroke my head more. And, whatever. I already knew the schedule for his baseball team. Yeah, we'll go see him ourselves. Yeah, I am starting to think, did Shio never get the opportunity to tell Satoshi who she was before he disappeared? I really hope that she does. I really do. A hopeless pair is the name of this achievement that we just got. We'll read the tip and I guess we'll call it for this episode. A crumpled diary. My aunt finally stopped her hysterical screaming. Today was just like any other day. I can't remember what set her off. Whatever it was, she changed subjects constantly anyway. It didn't matter. She went on past midnight again. The urge to sleep was pounding the back of my head. Once Sotoko had been able to relax, she fell down on the spot and started sleeping, still clinging to my sleeve. I carried Sotoko to the bedroom and laid out our futons.
Hora, Satoko. Futon ga shiketa yo. Futon ni hairina.
Sotoko crawled in like a worm. She stopped moving once she was inside. I wished I could go to bed too, but I couldn't. My aunt asked me to go do some chores. I had to get toothpaste after school tomorrow. I had to write it down somewhere. I had to make rice for lunch tomorrow. I set the timer. Right. I also had to repile the towels in the bathroom. I didn't know what that word was for a second. That was the reason for today's scolding. My aunt will get mad if everything isn't done the way she wants. Oh, and there was something else. I was working at the grocery store the next day. Oh. They wanted me to bring an apron. Did we even have an apron in this house? I'd never seen one. My aunt will be sleeping when I go to school, so I won't have time to ask her. What should I do? Since Mion helped me get the job, I don't want to screw it up. In that case, why don't I ask Mion about it at school? She might lend me one. Was there anything else? I was envious of Sotoko because she got to go to bed. It was pathetic that I felt that way. It's pathetic the way that they have to live. It really is. I hate it. I really fucking do. Alright, we'll jump into this one. We'll see what it looks like. Oh. Okay. Well, now we've seen what this looks like. Alright, we'll end it here. I am gonna try to shoot for like 40-minute long episodes. This is definitely not one of them, but I will try to shoot for them or whatever seems to fit. So we'll just kind of play it by ear. I'm not going to be doing 2-hour-long episodes every time. I don't want to burn myself out. I definitely want to take it easy. But I still want to get a lot of the game done each time I hop in here. Not just a little bit. Enough. A pretty reasonable amount. If that makes any bit of sense. But thank you all for watching. Again, thank you to those who supported my little break, who watched the previous episode with how long that was. And I'm glad to have you guys here for this one, and hopefully the remainder of this playthrough. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave a like, subscribe. Thank you for watching yet again, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.